Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So today we're going to be reading for the fire signs. That's going to be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The cards that I'll be using today is my Moon Baby Tarot. It's based on the Hoi Polloi deck from the 1970s. But this version, the color scheme has been changed a little bit, which I do like a lot actually. The Hoi Polloi cards were very bright, fluorescent, psychedelic, and these are toned down just a bit, which is nice. Let me, if I can, I'm sorry, I'm gonna adjust the height of the camera just a little bit. There we go. I feel like the framing is better. You get to see a little bit of my noise card today. That's the Zoya and some stickers, and that's where my scythe is hanging up. I'm also going to be doing crystal scrying over on the members side of the channel following this broadcast's conclusion. You are cordially invited, but of course your presence here on the channel is greatly appreciated no matter what. I put down my cell phone somewhere, hold on. I just need it for recording the timestamps. Okay. So let's start with the sign of Aries. Although I was hearing Sagittarius, but if I start with Sagittarius, I'll never be able to keep track of where I am. I'm sorry. I need order in my life. I'm a Virgo rising. Okay. So, Aries, if you would, just relax, and if you'd like, go ahead and set an intention for the reading. So, hi Juan, thank you for coming. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what is the best time. As far as when do the most people show up, and when is it still quiet enough for me to do the ASMR videos? So go ahead and set your intention and just allow any thoughts or ideas associated with that intention to rise up to the forefront of your mind, and wait there patiently while I shuffle the cards. And Aries, if there's any energies that you wish to let go of, or perhaps you're experiencing stress, maybe that's why you're here today, or even if you're experiencing physical discomfort, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. So as you inhale, draw in divine source energy along with those oxygen molecules. Allow that oxygen to infiltrate all the cells of your body, make its way into the mitochondria. One of the electrons from that oxygen molecule is going to hop right off and start a chain reaction in that electron transport chain. And when we reach the final waste product molecule, which is CO2, This is going to have the effect of just kind of sweeping along anything that you're ready to get rid of. And it's going to be exhaled with that CO2 on your breath. So just release. Oh, thank you, Victoria, and thank you for coming. It's good to see you. So the Aries timestamp is going to start. Perfect. And now we can start here in the past. This card is in the upright. No, this card is reversed. So the influence that this card had in your life might still be felt in the current situation, but that situation itself has concluded. Aries, in the past, we have the Knight of Cups in the reverse. So this can have to do with trusting your gut and your heart and your intuition. It can have to do with someone bringing in emotional support to you, either in the form of romantic love or just in the form of friendship. Now, because that card is in the reverse, it's almost like the knight is riding backwards into the past. So you can think of that as a scenario where that offer was made, but it's either being withdrawn or it was rejected. Here in the current situation, things are a little bit mixed up for you at this time, Aries. And I'm sorry to see that. You do have a lot of cards showing up reversed. Not enough that I would reshuffle and redeal, but I can tell by the number of reversals in your reading that there's a lot of things that are kind of confused, just a lot of random energies floating around. Here in the place of the significator, we have the Three of Swords in the upright. And this can have to do with argument. It can be a harbinger of a breakup in love situations. But look, if you are not already experiencing turmoil in your relationship, me saying that there might be a breakup going on is not going to create that in your life, right? This can also be just arguments, and especially where we see this Knight of Cups kind of riding backwards into the distance. There's a lot of like looking back on that situation, perhaps dwelling on that situation. And that could lead to some of this stress with the Three of Swords. This is also crossed by the Judgment card. So one aspect of the conflict in your life right now, Aries, might be you needing to figure out ways to reconcile argument and disagreement and the way that you respond to certain emotional triggers and emotional stimuli too, because sometimes when you get into a relationship, if you care about somebody very much, you might end up trying to behave differently than you would if you didn't really care about that person, if that makes sense. So the Judgment card coming out here as the crossing conditions can indicate this is an opportunity for you to kind of final out some things so that you can ascend to the next iteration of the self. That's what we're talking about with the Judgment card, because you see these people down here, right, who are have been deceased and are now being called up into the higher planes on Judgment Day. It's all about being tested. Sometimes it can represent like finishing your exams at school. So that is also a possibility. Or being certified in something. Those can all be things that come out of the judgment card. But in the context of this particular reading, Aries, I take it to mean that you are given this opportunity to reconcile a lot of things about your interpersonal skills. So down here in the Imam Silai, this is going to be the foundation upon which future events are built. The things that show up in the midheaven, the things that show up in the future. So we have here the Three of Pentacles, and it's showing up in the reverse. This can have to do with professional reputation. It can also have to do with group projects. So a group project might be coming to an ending, but there might have also been something about this particular situation, if it involved workplace drama or anything related to your professional life. There is a possibility at this time that it's affected your professional reputation. That's not necessarily the case for all of you. This is a general reading, of course. I'm kind of just talking about what I see here with the cards. Here, from your perspective, we have the King of Cups, and the King of Cups is showing up in the reverse. So you might perceive about yourself that you were supposed to be a provider, a caretaker, somebody who has enough resources to care for others and does so gladly. And that this card showing up in the reverse, perhaps you were unable to uphold that responsibility. The Knight of Cups and the King of Cups are the active cup court cards. So Knight of Cups is fire of water, and King of Cups is air of water. So a lot to do with one's emotions. And then also this active side of that energy showing up in the reverse a couple times now in your reading. Now the Knight of Cups is a little less mature than the King of Cups energy-wise, and I still can read them separately and then include both into that energetic reading, which is that these active energies are inviting you to act in some way on your emotions. But that doing so in the correct way is what's important. Now, judgment is fire energy, fire elemental energy, also associated with the planet Pluto, which is about transformation, so trials by fire. So again, we've got some more active energies showing up here with the fire energy and then the Three of Swords, air energy. You might be encouraged to listen to your passions in the matter over your logic. What can sometimes happen, and especially when we're dealing with emotional things or things that we're passionate about, is that you logically want one thing because you know that it's healthy and you know that it is what you should be doing. But what ends up happening is that you concede to a plan. And then when it comes time to follow through that plan, it's very difficult because your emotions start to get in the way. This is something I'm very guilty of. That's why I'm talking about it right now. And that is possible as something that's going on right now. From the outside looking in, we have the Strength card reversed, which is Leo's energy in the Major Arcana. Um, this being an outside person's perspective on your situation. So, what we see there is that people around you, Aries, might perceive that you are not uh, being strong, especially emotionally. You're not being emotionally strong in a particular situation. This could be frustrating for them, but the final cards have not been played in this scenario yet because we're still in that time of judgment. So there are ways to turn all of this around. Now, here in the future, we do have the Ace of Pentacles upright. So even if your professional reputation is not the best it's ever been right now, the effect that that could have is pushing you into a different, brand new situation, right? Opening up new opportunities because previous opportunities have closed. So that is a possibility here. We don't have very many. Well, I guess we do. We've got a fair spread between passive and active energies here in your reading. Hear from your hopes and dreams. We have the Six of Swords. So you could be wanting to take a trip right now, or you could be hoping to move somewhere different. Now, this is juxtaposed against your perspectives on the current situation, which is the King of Cups. And so you might think, especially with these two together, the future and your hopes and fears, or hopes and dreams, that moving somewhere different would afford you a new beginning. And that is possible, but I don't see any other cards directly about mobility. The other card, other than the Six of Swords that we have featuring mobility, is the Knight of Cups, and if you recall, that is moving backward. The Judgment card could be a bit about mobility. Um, it would be a upward mobility and not trajectory necessarily across the immediate plane. Up here in the Imam Silai, we have the Two of Wands reversed. Two of Wands is about planning. Now, this is showing up reversed in the future, which indicates that in the future you will have the potential to make a plan. But in the current situation, and I think especially because we're looking at a situation where there's like a group dynamic ending, a group project ending, and perhaps ending somewhat acrimoniously, not necessarily through any fault of your own, Aries. Remember, I said this is an opportunity for growth, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the wrong. Okay. So once you start to see this take focus, I think then you will be able to make more of a plan. And if you really do hope to take a trip or relocate, this Two of Wands, whenever that is able to come into its full potential, that's when you'll be able to start planning that trip. The final outcome is kind of like advice. It's also kind of like wrapping up any loose ends having to do with the reading, and it is juxtaposed against the card representing outside opinions, outside reflections of the current situation. So the final outcome is the World card reversed. This is a fixed sign energy card. You can see that we have the eagle represents Scorpio, Aquarius, we have Taurus, and then of course Leo, right? And the world's turning as she dances is what turns the world around. If she stops dancing, we all just fly off into space. She has 2 wands, one in each hand, acting as a conduit. The World card is about closure and endings. And remember, we have Leo showing up on the World card. That strength has the potential to bring in closure and an ending for you in a situation, Aries. And perhaps where people see that you are not exhibiting the strength they know you to be capable of, that those are things that are halting your progress. Because remember, in the current situation, we're going through this judgment period, right? The only way to bring that to an end is to move on into the energy of the World card. So that is going to conclude your reading for today, Aries. I'm going to move on now to the sign of Leo, who we have already talked a lot about in the Aries reading. And after the fire sign readings have concluded, I will go over to the members side of the channel to do some crystal scrying. You're cordially invited, but your presence here on the channel is greatly appreciated in whatever form it takes, whether that's liking, just watching, sharing the video with your friends, subscribing, click the little bell, especially as I am figuring out what is the best time to stream. That's going to let you know every time I go live. All of you who comment on the videos and who talk to me in the live chat, you are all so greatly appreciated. So now we're going to move on to the sign of Leo. And Leo, if you would, just kind of gently relax, and then set your intention and allow any thoughts or ideas that are associated with that intention. Allow those things to rise up to the forefront of your mind and wait there patiently while I shuffle the cards. And Leo, if there's anything that's causing you stress or discomfort, or if there are things you're ready to release, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. As you inhale, draw in divine source energy along with those oxygen molecules. Allow oxygen to infiltrate all of your cells and find their way to the membranes of the mitochondria and one of the electrons from that oxygen molecule is going to hop onto that electron transport chain inside the mitochondria And this is going to have the effect of just pushing through ionization, all of that negative vibrational energy, anything you're ready to release, just pushing that like a broom all the way to the end of the electron transport chain, and where we have that final CO2 molecule. You're just going to use that to help release everything with your breath. And it will be returned to source, and it will be transmuted. Everybody's having very complicated readings this week. Why are you guys being so complicated? Oh, somebody's crying outside. Little baby puppies crying outside. Don't be fooled, they're fine. They are well cared for. They're not mine. They're my roommate's dogs. Sorry about that. So here in the past, it looks like you're leaving behind poverty mentality, scarcity mentalities. You're leaving behind a period of your life where you were down and out, perhaps. I read something really interesting recently about when people shelter in a church, especially people who are couples, right? Under what circumstances is it appropriate for married couples who are sheltering in a church to consummate that marriage, right? And the treatise from that time, whatever time it was, I believe medieval ages, because of course, why wouldn't it be? That it was declared that it was not appropriate under any circumstances because it would be too difficult to cleanse that energy out of the church. So that kind of puts a different spin on this Five of Pentacles, right? That because these two people have chosen to be together and they want the autonomy to do with their bodies what they wish to do, that they've chosen not to shelter in the church. However, Leo, this is an energy that you're leaving behind you. Now, moving into the current situation, in the place of the significator, we do have the Five of Cups. And that is crossed by the Tower. So there is a big destructive event going on in your life right now, Leo, potentially. Now, if there isn't, that doesn't mean that it's waiting for you right around the corner. You'll probably know if this is going on in your life or not. The Five of Cups is about disappointment. These cups are have all been filled with the emotional substance, right? The blood, sweat, and tears. So we have 2 cups remaining and 3 cups that have spilled, showing that you had put emotional energy into something and that emotional energy has now been wasted. Now, down here in the Imam Sealai, Leo, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and she's showing up in the upright. So the Queen of Pentacles is 2 combined passive energies of water and earth. It is watering the ground so that the crops can grow. And the Queen of Pentacles does usually have some kind of cash crop around her feet, in this case grapes, that can be made into wine. And people charge a lot of money for that. But a really good bottle of wine takes a long time to produce. You don't just squeeze the grapes and then magically you can charge like $200 a bottle for it. It has to be aged, it has to be developed from the grape, the raw material, into the desired output. And so that is similar to that Queen of Pentacles energy. That this is something that's very cumulative, but when you get that ball rolling, it could be representative of passive income also. Here, from your perspective, looking at the current situation, Leo, and I almost said Scorpio there. I'm all mixed up today. Sorry, guys. The Seven of Wands. So you perceive that you have reached a vantage point and thus are kind of a target now because of that. The Seven of Wands, though, does imply that there's a certain level of success that you've achieved. You've made it through the Five of Wands, through that victory of the Six of Wands, and now everything is kind of coming around again to where people are trying to knock you off of that position of advantage. From the outside looking in, Leo, you are showing up to others as the King of Wands, somebody charismatic, a leader. This is air of fire energy, so there's a lot of action potential. You've got that fire being stoked by the air. So similar to the Knight of Swords, but flipped. The King of Wands has the potential to be even like a cult leader or somebody to whom people are very loyal because of that charisma and charm. Here in the future for you, Leo, it's very interesting that we have this card showing up this way in the future because it is the Ten of Swords and it is reversed. So we already know that in the current situation, the Tower is raging. It's Mars energy. The Ten of Swords could be showing up in the future in the reverse because you're going to be getting over that destructive time. The Ten of Swords could be reversed because the potential is there for more endings as well. And of course, this card from the Imam Silai of the Queen of Pentacles, this is kind of the foundation for future events, mainly the midheaven, but also the future card. We had an ending in the past, too, where you're leaving this poverty mentality behind you. You're choosing your own autonomy. But here, autonomy has paid the ultimate price. The figure on the Ten of Swords, additionally, is alone. Whereas the Five of Pentacles, these people are together. Five of Cups, this person is here alone. But the Tower card, the people are together. So this might be a situation where it's better for you to go about things in a solitary way for the time being. We kind of have this King of Wands looking at this Queen of Pentacles. But she's not focused on him. She's only focused on getting that money. So your creativity might be less important to you at this time also than bringing in more material resources. That King of Wands is two active energies, and the Queen of Pentacles is the two passive energies. Here in your hopes and fears. Oh, hi, Lenore. It's really good to see you. Thank you for coming. So the King of Pentacles in the reverse is juxtaposed against the Seven of Wands. You may be afraid that even though you've reached this pinnacle of success, that you're still going to be limited monetarily. I don't necessarily see that. The King of Pentacles reversed can also be letting go of ideas surrounding material resources that are false, that are no longer serving you, that are blocking your abundance. Pick one. Up here in the midheaven. So this is going to be another result of this Queen of Pentacles in the upright down here in the Imam Seelai, setting that foundation. I didn't even notice this, but we have the King of Swords. Watch out for red tape. Watch out for bureaucracy getting in the way of progress. But also keep in mind that the potential is there for this card to be in the upright, right? Perhaps there's an ending you don't yet perceive. And after that occurs, this card will come into play. It's kind of like when you look at something at a distance in a concave mirror, it's reversed. And then as you get closer, it turns upright. This being something that's been grown over a long period of time, I would just say look out for any kind of legislation or regulations that might have the capacity to derail that progress. And finally, we're going to look at the final outcome. Here we have Queen of Cups, which is water of water. And this can have to do with emotional nurturing to others. The Queen of Cups is all about that emotional energy, although a lot of the time she keeps her own emotional states hidden from others. And this is in opposition to that King of Wands, that fiery energy. There might even be a Queen of Cups who's attracted to you moving forward. And you might not see them because maybe they're slightly behind you, remaining, not that they're hiding, but maybe they're just kind of quiet and shy, you know? Additionally, this is a reminder to you, Leo, to always default to kindness when you have the opportunity to do so. Because that emotional nurturing is the other side of this charismatic energy and what will make people wish to be loyal to you. So that is going to conclude the Leo reading for this week. And now I'm going to move on to the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Flip over all the cards. All right, Sagittarius. Now, if you would, go ahead and set your intention for the reading. Inflate your ego as far as it will go, and then pop it just like a balloon. Don't know why I felt compelled to say that, but it seemed appropriate. Go ahead and set your intention. Allow those things to rise up to the front of your thoughts. And then if there's anything that you're ready to let go of, any energies that you wish to release at this time, any discomfort even that you're experiencing, I invite you to gently breathe through those energies. So as you inhale, draw in source energy along with those tasty, tasty oxygen molecules, and allow that oxygen to infiltrate each and every cell of your body. And you're going to allow the electrons of the oxygen molecules to travel through the electron transport chain. This is going to have the effect. Sorry, I was using a screwdriver earlier and it kind of like abraded the palm of my hand. That's all that is. It's going to have the effect of just pushing any of that lower vibrational energy that you're ready to let go of right to the very end of the electron transport chain where we have that CO2 molecule. You're just going to release everything with that exhaled breath. And it will return to source, and it will be transmuted. So, Sagittarius, here in the past we actually have a Libra's card, which is the Justice card, and it's showing up in the upright. There might have been a situation recently for you, Sagittarius, where you got justice. You got what you deserved, rightfully so, in a situation. The implication with the upright being that it was something that you were hoping would happen and not a disaster. We have 3 9s in your reading this week, Sagittarius, and 2 of them have showed up here in the place of the significator with the crossing energy. You're very guarded at this time with that 9 of Wands, and then with that 9 of Swords crossing, there seems to be a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights perhaps. So whatever this justice was, perhaps it put you a little on edge about something. Now, it's in the upright, so this is still very relevant in the present situation. There might even be aspects of it that haven't fully been played out yet, right? So you might have received settlement in the court, but you haven't gotten the money yet. That's possible. There was something where an employer has agreed to certain terms with you, but that you haven't quite seen enough evidence yet. And so we have these very guarded energies with the 9s, the active 9s in the place of the significator. However, down in the Imam Sili, we have our 3rd 9. And that card, Sagittarius, is the 9 of Cups. This card is about wish fulfillment. And I've been seeing the 9 of Cups come out in readings for a lot of people lately. A lot of people. Oh, excuse me. Oh, good heavens. From your perspective, reason to celebrate. We have the Four of Wands showing up here, Sagittarius. So you do see that there is a reason to celebrate. There's a bit of rest going on. There are also figural implications of the sign of Gemini on this card, where you see the Ramada drooping here, and then the horizon in the background forms that second curve, kind of making the symbol of your opposing sign of Gemini. Now, that's not a hard and fast meaning. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with the correspondences of the cards necessarily, but it being your opposite sign, there could be aspects of this that you are not expecting. There could be aspects of this that have to do with communication, have to do with travel, etc., especially short distance travel. From an outside person's perspective, looking in, we have the Five of Swords. It's showing up reversed. People see that you're ready to leave conflict in the past, Sagittarius, that you don't necessarily feel like you need to be right in every situation. The Five of Swords is a card about combat and conflict, and two very clearly defined factions pitted against each other. Polarization at its worst. So where we see this card in the reverse and from other people's perspective, it's good that they see you leaving those things in the past. Here in the future, Sagittarius, we have another card talking about Gemini, which is the Lovers. Now, this can be about choices that you make, but I will tell you that I do think, because there's another card coming out here, that it could also be about potential for a love relationship. The Lovers is also about reconciling polarities. So, where people perceive that about you already, Sagittarius, that is going to be solidified in the future. Here in your hopes and fears, some of you are dodging marriage, and this, of course, is juxtaposed against another card that can sometimes mean marriage. The Hierophant reversed. You could also be rejecting traditional values, or afraid that you'll be overly constrained by traditional values. The Hierophant additionally is a religious leader. There might be things about you at this time that are somewhat heretical or unorthodox. And that is what kind of celebrations you'll be having. Here in the midheaven, so I said that there might be love relationships for some of you because we have the Two of Cups in the midheaven and it's showing up reversed. This would be somebody that you haven't met yet, potentially, because otherwise you might be able to see it coming. It would be a kind of situation that maybe you don't think right now that it's a possibility. But because of some kind of wish fulfillment coming through, the potential is now there for this to happen. And the closer you get, perhaps it will become a fulfilled energy. The final outcome card that we have for you, Sagittarius, is a really good one. It's elemental water and the Ace of Cups. And this is juxtaposed against this card of the Five of Swords reversed. So because you are leaving this combative nature behind you, an emotional renewal is taking place. And you're able to relate to people in ways that you haven't before. perhaps even relating to the higher power in ways that you haven't before. And where we have the Nine of Cups, and then we have the Ace of Cups, we see that this cycle has reached completion and is starting over again. So a fresh new start. And that might be what makes it possible for this Two of Cups to occur. So that is going to conclude the Sagittarius reading for this week. I don't think the Sagittarius reading was very long, but I did feel like I said everything I needed to say. I'm going to go over to the member side of the channel now and do the crystal scrying. If that is something that interests you, you're cordially invited. But your presence here on the channel is greatly appreciated in whatever form it takes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you again very soon.